Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Sharief, Ishaq, WDSU. Down in New Orleans 30 minutes from now. We'll talk a lot of Saints, maybe a little bit of Pels as well as Pelicans get things started tomorrow. The NBA season cranking up tonight. It's all football right now. Bringing our guy Colin, former Tiger, tight end now with the LSU Alumni Association. Busy week for y'all. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. I normally come in here saying either the Tigers or the Saints got to win, but unfortunately not this weekend. But the good news is
yesterday was terrible. The show was terrible. Like the vibes were terrible. It's a sad state of affairs around here.
It's a tough week. But on the flip side of that, we do have at the Alumni Association, it is our Tiger Nation Challenge Week, which is our National Week of Giving and kind of give back to all of the programming we do, keeping Tigers connected around the country. So it's a busy week for us. So we are excited about everything we've got going this week. I stopped by BRQ today for lunch. They're doing a give back. We've got another one at ZZ's tomorrow. Busy week. So stay tuned with LSU Alumni Association. This is obviously a massive week for us, and looking forward to see how it goes on.
Love to hear that, keeping Tigers connected all over the country. We'll also have Football Friday coming up this Friday. A&M coming to town, so I'm looking forward to getting over there, doing a little player panel and eating some food. But hopefully by Friday, like the vibes are a little bit better. The anticipation of moving forward as opposed to looking back generally fades over the week. That's at least what I'm banking on.
Yeah, I think so. I think we kind of transitioned from the kind of the sad, cloudy we're in now, and the sun comes up each morning. Tigers get another opportunity to play a big opponent at home this week. It's a big week. But yeah, at the Alumni, like I said, a lot of stuff going on. Football Friday, Tiger Nation Challenge. Click on our site, lsualumni.org. Click the banner, kind of see everything we've got going on. Big week for us.
And then we go back to the cloudy, dismal Vanderbilt game. Surprised at the outcome on Saturday?
Yes, of course. Anytime a team beats you for the first time in 35 years, it's a tough pill to swallow. It's just we're having the same struggles we've had all year up front. I mean, anytime you have two of your offensive linemen, I think you brought up the fact that they graded like a 20 and a 30 in pass protection. It's amazing to me we scored as many points as we did with those kind of grades. But we have to get better. At this point, you're 2 losses on the year. If you have any sort of hopes of making the playoff, you have to win out. And you've got your toughest part of the schedule coming up. So it's now or never, put up or shut up. We'll see what the Tigers can do.
I was listening to Flynn and Hester kind of break down some film, and they aren't wild about some of the RPO stuff because you're in run pass option, obviously, and you can hand off or you can throw it. Well, at that point, the offensive lineman can't fire off and go down the field. And some of the running plays, you got linemen in pass sets, and you're trying to sneak a run right by them, and it's not working. Like, what do you see when you look at stuff like that?
I'm with that. It's a real finesse way to run offense. It's different. When I was there, we had the opposite problem. All we knew was straight downhill, and the passing game, we weren't very good. But when you're constantly in the mindset of, I'm maintaining a block, but I can't go further than 2 or 3 yards downfield, it shifts that mindset. You're not firing off on the ball. You're not climbing the linebackers. It's just more of a passive way to look at the run game, which it has its benefits. But I just think for a team that's looking for that identity and has kind of lost the old school LSU of, we're going to show up and whether or not we lose the game, we're going to knock the crap out of you. I just think that's lost when you run consistent RPOs all the time.
Brian Kelly has insisted that they're going to stick with veterans up front. They're not going to put freshmen in what he would call a compromised situation. How do you feel about young players playing at the line of scrimmage in the SEC? Do you feel like it's generally best to lean on veterans, or would you like to give the young pups a shot?
Well, there's a big difference between an 18-year-old and a 22, 23, 25 with the way the COVID year is now, year-old out there. But I'm a big fan of you put your best 5. To me, it doesn't matter. I mean, Will Campbell stepped in day 1 and played, and that's why he was the number 4 overall pick. If you've got 5 linemen out there that you truly believe are the best, I don't see the difference in putting them out there. It's one thing. I understand freshmen are going to come in, young guys are going to come in, make MAs here and there. But at this point, I mean, what are we, 6-7 games to the season? They've had enough. They've had a summer. Some of them have been here since the spring. You're halfway into the season. They know what they should know. So if you've got young guys who can play, throw them out there.
What do you see from LSU near the goal line where they're just struggling to run the football into the end zone? I mean, it's happening a lot.
It's way too much. It's something, and we talked about, I don't know if it's that finesse mentality. We're running RPOs all the time, but it's something where we have to get out on the goal line. I'd like to see us go under center more, honestly. It's tough running an offense on the goal line when you're 6 yards back, taking shotgun snaps, but I'd like to see more of an aggressive approach, run a power, run counter, put extra tight ends in the game, something to make a difference. Because, we've had multiple opportunities now. You're sitting at the one. We can't punch it in, and that's just not LSU football to me.
It's tough to watch. It really is. And then they get it into the end zone, and they've got a procedure penalty on the left side of the offensive line when they're throwing the ball over to the right side into the end zone, which is frustrating as well. Defense got gashed a little bit by Vanderbilt. I personally said they were put in a terrible situation in Oxford, having to play basically the entire game. I didn't necessarily see it that way on Saturday, but I realized that you are missing 4 of your guys in your front seven, which does matter as well. Like, what is your takeaway from the defense?
I'm with you. This is one of those games, we've kind of relied on our defense all year. We finally got, a team, I don't want to say figured us out, but took some shots on us, and they threw some blows. It was one of those things. It was a game where they weren't maybe at the same performance we've seen earlier on in the year when we kind of needed our offense to perform. It just didn't work out. Look, we had multiple opportunities. I mean, how many times do we have Pavia dead in the rights on a sack and he wiggled his way out? And the worst was when he hit that running back on the left side after he made Pyburn do a spin move. But it's just one of those things between us kind of getting gashed in the run game. I think Vanderbilt really showed you if you have a dominant run game, there's so much you can play off of that. And they were able to kind of expose us. But we had opportunities, just didn't necessarily go our way. But again, this was a game that I think our offense needed to step up. Our defense maybe wasn't at our best. And we just didn't make enough plays to get the win.
How do you think the team is responding to this now that they've got 2 losses? It's a tough question to answer because you're not in the locker room, but what's your gut tell you on how that feels after a second loss and one to Vanderbilt where, look, I think there are probably a lot of players in that locker room that look at it kind of like us, like, didn't think Vanderbilt was going to beat us.
Yeah, it's a gut punch, certainly, but it's something this would be about the time when I was there that Tommy Moffitt would bring us all in the weight room together and show us a tire with all these, you have school logos on it, and the only way you perform as a team, he'd put a rope on it. The only way we're moving that tire is if everyone pulls together on the same side of the rope. That's what it's going to take. You're at 2 losses. Like we said, you can't really afford another one for the rest of the year if you have aspirations of making the playoff. So it's going to take everybody coming together, doing their jobs, holding on those blocks a little bit longer, making the big-time catches, making plays on defense. Everyone's just going to have to give the ultimate effort, extra time in the film room, really know what they're doing if you want to close out. I mean, like I said, you got 4 or 5 opponents left on that. I would imagine most of those were going to be underdogs. You got to make it happen. One way or the other, it's going to take every ounce of effort you got. But I believe that they'll go in whether it's a meeting room, locker room, anything, these guys are going to pull together. They understand, especially seniors, juniors, this is their last shot at a college playoff run. They're going to do whatever they can do to make it happen.
I'm very curious how the crowd's going to be on Saturday.
I'm with you. It's again, we're still stuck in the kind of cloudy week, but it's one of those. We have to step up as a fan base. A&M's got a great thing going for them. We have to show that we're the best college stadium environment in college football. We need anybody and everybody. Anything you can do to help this Tiger team win that game. I want kind of a call out to all of Tiger Nation. Let's get out there. Let's support these boys. Let's get a win at home and get this thing back rolling.
It's interesting because, the weather forecast is not very good, and everybody in this town is cranky. And, as I said, entering the Vanderbilt game, if you could win that game by 1 point, you were going to set up a monster environment. But you didn't. You went and you kind of got beat down a little bit. It was 7 points on the scoreboard. It felt worse than that, and they slid on the 1 yard line with a minute to go. So it feels like it could be a little bit sleepy in there to me. But that remains to be seen. It's just you never know until you get in there and see it.
I agree. And it's one of those things you could go in there with that mentality and we could say, last week happened. We're not looking forward to next week, all that. Or we could show up day of the game, fire it up. Maybe start the day early, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., whatever you want to turn it into. I'm just saying, and make it, like I said, Death Valley. We are the best college football environment in all the country. Let's prove it. Let's show the Aggies what we're all about. They got rowdy last year when we went there. Let's make it happen.
Have not won here since they joined the Southeastern Conference. I'd like to keep that streak going. It feels like LSU going to be an underdog coming on Saturday. We'll see how things go. A busy, important week. I'll let you tell the people. Our audience turns over every 8 minutes or so have another chance to tell everybody where they can get involved with y'all this week. It's a big week for y'all, and certainly we're looking forward to Friday.
Yeah, again, Tiger Nation Challenge this week. This is our National Giving Week. It supports all our programming. So our identity at the Alumni Association is to take care of you beyond your 4 years on campus. Whether that's connecting you when you move to a new city. I met a girl in Atlanta last year who had bounced from Houston, Atlanta, Nashville, all over. And she let me know the first thing she looks to is Alumni Association, chapter in each city, kind of a base to meet people. With our new business memberships, we're looking to bump your business, do as much as we can to boost and get more income coming your way. Anything we can do to help. But this week is what fundraises for that. It's how we can do all the things we do. So go online, lsualumni.org, click the banner, check out what we're all about. Just a massive week for us. So please check that out, and we're happy to help in any way we can.
LSUalumni.org is that website. He's Colin Jeter, former Tiger tight end, now with the Alumni Association. We will see you Friday for Football Friday. All right, let's take a time out. When we come back, we'll talk some big picture LSU, Brian Kelly. What's the future of this whole thing looking like right now? I've got a couple of days to think about that. We'll do it when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Love telling you about my friends at Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. Looking to blow off a little bit of steam, hang out, have some fun on this weekend. If the weather's bad, still go to Swing Easy Golf Club. You can play some golf no matter the weather because it's inside and it's on a simulator. You hang out with your friends. They got great seating areas. They got cold beer. They got wine. They got seltzers. And you can hang out, put football on the TV, and play some golf. You can play on the driving range feature. You can play Pebble Beach. You can play Bethpage Black. You can play TPC Sawgrass. All those great famous courses available to you. You can play it with your friends. It's a great place to socialize, hang out, have some fun in a controlled environment where you don't have to worry about the weather, whether it's too hot or raining or whatever the case may be. Also got memberships available, so go check them out. Segan at Perkins. They're online at SwingEasyGCBR.com. It's Swing Easy Golf Club here in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
We'll talk Sharief Ishaq about the Saints coming up in 15 minutes. I think most people felt on Saturday that result was significant. Whether you want to call Vanderbilt a playoff contender, you want to call them a really good football team, you want to call Clark Lee one of the up-and-coming coaches in college football, like all that may be true. But for LSU, with this team, this roster, this investment, this coach, this staff, to go lose to Vanderbilt is still loud. It's a loud result. Because to everyone that would listen, everyone in Baton Rouge at LSU was talking about championships. Brian Kelly mentioned at SEC Media Days in Atlanta, we weren't playing championship level defense. So he felt that they were addressing that with the players and the coaches they brought in. And if, like, I asked Josh Thompson why he came to LSU a couple of weeks into the season, and he said to win a national championship. Garrett Nussmeier mentioned that in his I'm Coming Back video last December. And so the goals were stated. And when you lose to Vanderbilt with those stated goals, like, it is a jarring result. And that leads a lot of people to say a lot of things. And I'm certainly in no position to tell you how to feel. Most people I talk to, friends, family members, just people in my inner circle, people sending, I sent a couple of tweets out on Saturday that got A lot of impressions. The one about the fit in Baton Rouge and the one about LSU's pass blocking grades on PFF. They both got like over 200,000 impressions on Twitter. And so that generates a lot of response toward me. A lot of people tweeting at me. And so I'm getting that feedback and text messages and phone calls, and I'm in the LSU ecosystem. And the resounding theme in the LSU ecosystem is this staff is a failure, this roster is a failure, and there have to be massive changes. That's the way fans feel. And it's reasonable because you haven't gotten to Halloween yet and your season is on the brink. And that's the nature of college football. It is like this more so than any other sport that I personally follow. College basketball, you play bad for 3 weeks, you can figure it out. College baseball, you play bad for 3 weeks, you can figure it out. The NFL, you play bad for 3 weeks, you can figure it out. NBA, play bad for 3 weeks, you can figure it out. In college football, you play bad for 3 weeks, you can have your goals wiped off the table. That's this sport. And so there's not a lot of time for LSU to get any better. You can't lose again. That seems very unlikely. And that's what leads people to the belief that this is ultimately going to be a failed team. And I'm not calling the players themselves failures. I'm not calling the coaches themselves failures. But when you have a stated goal and that goal is not reached, I don't know what else to call that. That would be a failure. So it comes to big picture with the program. And there are variables there that I cannot speak to directly. And I'm confident that most LSU fans can't speak to them directly, but they're going to do it anyway. And that's fine. One of the things we like to do in our culture is talk about our teams. And we're going to have opinions, and we're going to feel certain types of ways. But my contention, the way I like to address that, is I like to speak to the things that I know about. I don't know how much money LSU is going to need in name, image, and likeness for next year's roster. I don't. And I don't know how willing the big money boosters are going to be to cut those checks again for this staff. I don't know. That's not to suggest they certainly will not, and it does not suggest they certainly will. I don't know. Right now, if Lane Kiffin holds his hand out to the Ole Miss boosters, they'll write the check. Right now, if Mike Elko holds his pen out and says, I need the boosters, they're going to write the check. Right now, Ryan Day in Columbus, they'll write the check. When things are going really good, I can tell you that people will be receptive to it. When they're not, that is a case-by-case basis. And I don't know what LSU's big money boosters feel. And by the same token, I don't know how they feel about buying out a coaching staff and hiring a new one. I'm not telling you whether they should or shouldn't. I'm telling you I have no idea what people feel about a $60 million buyout right now and then going to pay $80 more for a new coaching staff. You're talking about a decision that is made based on $150 million. I don't know how the people whose names I do not know feel about cutting those checks. So for me to sit here and suggest that this has to be done or that has to be done or this can't be done or this is like, how would I truthfully have that conversation with you when I don't know how people feel about spending money? Because here's what I think. You can call me crazy. You can say that's reasonable. This is what I think. I think if Brian Kelly gets 5 more years as the head coach at LSU and he gets massive amounts of resources from the powers that be, he'll win a lot of games. I believe that. He's hired good coaches his whole career. He's won a lot of games his whole career. LSU is a place where you're capable of hiring good coaches and winning a lot of games. And I think if Brian Kelly coached out his contract, he'd win a lot of games. I think he'd make the playoff a time or two, and I think he'd have some good teams. I think that. But I think there are a lot of coaches that can win at LSU. I think that proof is in the pudding. Nick Saban won at LSU. Les Miles won at LSU. Ed Ogeron won at LSU. A lot of coaches can do it. So when I get asked, and I get this all the time, Are they going to buy Kelly out? How would I know that? I can point to the Saints salary cap and tell you what I think a good investment is and what I think a bad investment is. But we have that data. We know how much they can spend and how much they've spent on everybody. I don't have the data to suggest how receptive any of the people who are cutting these checks are to writing out Brian Kelly and spending more money for players, because you're going to have to do that with next year's roster no matter what if you want to win. If Brian Kelly's the coach or he's not, somebody's got to spend money on players. And I don't know how receptive they are to a huge buyout that Penn State just paid, that Florida just paid, that A&M did in their day, and then go in to hire a new coach. Like, I have no idea. And my genuine thought is that you probably don't either as an LSU fan. You're just really ticked off that you couldn't stop Vanderbilt, and you go, blow this up and get me a new coach. And you're within your right to say that. I'm just kind of pointing out how I generally approach it. So if you ask me, well, is this Kelly's last year if they lose 2 more games? If we want to play hypotheticals, I have no idea. I have a thought. My thought is that LSU's booster base is probably not going to be super ambitious to spend a huge money on a coaching buyout. That's my thought, but I don't know. It might take 2 uber rich guys who say, that's not that much money to me. I'm sick of this. Boom. It might be those same 2 uber rich guys that go, okay, this didn't work. We need to make some adjustments. Kelly's a proven winner, and I think they've done a good job with the defense. Okay, let's just fix it, and here's this. And then they write another check to go get more players. But I can't sit here and truthfully know. And I say this all the time. I say this so often. Like, it's better, generally speaking, in the talk radio world for me to get up here and go, are you kidding me? You lost to Vanderbilt? You can't run it for more than 1 yard a carry in the red zone? The offense is 90th in the country in scoring? Fire this staff, get a new one. This is a joke. That plays better on radio. It does. I don't necessarily believe that. And I certainly don't know who's willing to spend what money. And I don't even know where the money comes from. Like, Ross Dellinger wrote a piece, and they've got a tech guy in San Francisco who's spending a bunch of money. And, you hear Gordon and you hear Todd Graves, and there's oil and gas in Southwest Louisiana. And, they've never run short of money. I'll tell you that. Need to buy Ogeron out? They bought him out. Need to hire Brian Kelly for $100 million? Hired him for $100 million. He hired a defensive staff. You need to buy them out after 2 years? Bought him out. Then you determined you had to go to the transfer portal and spend a bunch of money there. They spent a bunch of money there. They've never run out of money. The only time they straight up lost on money was Bryce Underwood, and that is a completely different beast because that's one of the richest men literally in the world. So there's always been money. Maybe there is for a new coaching staff or a whole group of new players. But I don't know. The point of this is, and you might say, well, isn't it your job to find that out? To an extent, but people aren't super anxious to tell everyone about the X amount of $1 million they spent out of their personal checking account to go buy defensive ends and tight ends and left tackles. It's just not. How many boosters do you know you can immediately point to that are paying at any school? I can do Larry Ellison at Michigan, but I just don't have a lot of that information for any team. So this is a long and contrived way to get to the point of we'll see when we find out. We got to see what LSU does the rest of the way. We got to see what happens in December. And then I'll give you an assessment of how I feel like the football program is doing. Right now, you're on the brink of coming up woefully short with this roster. And if you want to boil the entire program down to this one roster this year, I'm not going to tell you that's wrong at all. This was supposed to be the best team, and they're not playing very well. But I'm not going to yell and scream and bang tables about stuff that I just don't know about. That's how I approach these segments. That's how I approach discussions in private. It's just the way that I'm wired. So I got the mic, and you get that side of the story. We'll see. My hope, they beat Texas A&M on Saturday. That's my hope. But we'll see. Sharief, Ishaq talking Saints next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. New closet can make all the difference. My girlfriend at the time, soon to become fiance and now wife, moved into my house, first one here in Baton Rouge, and she said, this is not enough closet space. I had never thought about it. Didn't care. So this isn't going to work. So we had suitcases in other rooms. We had coats in down the hall. We had stuff in boxes in the attics. We didn't have enough space. And we would have called David Duvall in One Bath and Closets, but we knew we were moving. Second baby was coming. We knew we were going to get a new house. So when we did, we prioritized closet space, and now we've got something that we're very happy with. But it's made a huge difference and something I didn't even realize. But you don't have to move to make that change in your home. Call David Duvall, One Bath and Closets. He can build you a brand new custom closet. They're licensed contractors. They can do that for you. They can also just use your current space more effectively, more efficiently. But if you need more closet space, have that sit down with David Duvall for free. Let him discuss what he can do for you. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find him online at onebathandclosets.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Let's turn our attention to the black and gold. Saints go up to Chicago, get it handed to them by the Bears and Dennis Allen. Sharief Ishaq, full of positivity here on this Tuesday. How are you, sir?
Clint, let me start off by saying this. I just want to get it out of the way because people were giving me a hard time about this. People saying that I'm way too critical and harsh of LSU, but not the same type of harshness for the Saints. Let me remind everyone the expectations are way different. So stop bothering me with my harshness on LSU whenever they have a $20 million roster and a coach making $10 million a year, and the Saints are in a rebuild. So stop harassing me about that whole drama. There we go. All right.
I promise I will not harass you. What do you think about the Saints on Sunday?
Okay, what I thought about the Saints is exactly what I thought would happen. Dennis Allen would have a revenge game, not a reunion game. He does what he does best as a defensive coordinator. They went into that game as one of the top teams when it comes to forcing turnovers. They had 12 going into that game, got 4 more. I mean, they were going after Spencer Rattler and making Spencer Rattler make bad decisions. So I thought the game plan was exactly what I thought it was going to be. He knew what Spencer Rattler would do. He knew the weapons that he had on that offense, and they just kept attacking and attacking. The pressure was coming from everywhere, that he was disguising it, and he made life a living hell for Spencer Rattler in that offense the entire game. And he's allowed to have one bad game, maybe a few bad games. So the whole replacing Spencer Rattler isn't happening this week. So we can just move on with that discussion. It was one bad game.
Let's talk about the defense in the game, or lack thereof, I guess, against the running game. They did a decent job in coverage. Caleb Williams had a pretty rough day, but they couldn't stop the run. Was that surprising to you?
Yes. Almost, 225 yards?
Yep.
And I think DeAndre Swift was around $125. You're averaging around 5.5 yards a carry. That is it's disgusting work. It is disgusting, nasty work by the defense that has been fairly good and fun game for most of this season. But those are the 2 reasons I lost: the 4 turnovers and 100% the run defense. It was just pretty. It was just ugly. I mean, they were stopping anyone. They were just gashing him on the ground, up the middle, outside. They were doing everything they wanted against the Saints run defense, and that was so disappointing, Hunt. It is so disappointing to see the run defense play that poorly against the Chicago Bears. I was even more surprised, Hunt, that the Saints weren't able to run the ball against a defense that was ranked second to last in the NFL and in rushing yards. They gave up about 156 yards a game. The Saints only had 45 yards, and that's losing football. Not being able to run, turning the ball over, and giving up all those rushing yards, losing football.
No doubt. Quincy Riley made a good play, had an interception. Do you feel like there are times where some of those young secondary players with Sanker and are making some plays?
Yeah, let me settle down a little bit. I think I'm still fired up from the beginning of this phone conversation. Let me settle myself down. All right, so yes, like what we always said, this is a rebuild. It's a process. You want to see some of your younger players take a step in the right direction. Yes, Quincy Riley, I thought did a solid job. But they did a really good job in terms when it came to the pass defense. There's no complaints there. But why would they pass the ball whenever they're running for 225? But yeah, I think on that first drive you saw that Quincy Riley made a key tackle on second down that was inside the 10-yard line. Also, Sanker made a great play to stop Swift from scoring a touchdown. Then Riley made that play. So, yeah, I think you're seeing, like, those young pieces continue to develop and make those plays and taking steps in that right direction that you want to see him make. And Quincy made that pretty nice interception. So you are seeing your young players, get down there and make those plays. And, look, they even had Danny Stutzman in there a lot. He made some plays there whenever he was in the game. So you're starting to see those rookies that you drafted in this past draft class, get on the field. You start a game at a time because it took Quincy a little while to get on the field. Now you're starting to see Danny Stutzman get more reps. And now you're going to see Devin Neal with Kendre Miller out for the season. You're going to have to see these guys, show me something. You have to show me something with 10 games left in the season. So here's their opportunity to say, look, we drafted some good players.
What was a more impactful injury to you? What's a bigger deal, Kendre Miller or Eric McCoy?
Not even close. You saw what happened last year when Eric McCoy went out after that during that Eagles game. It was an absolute disaster on that offensive line. The disaster. I mean, catastrophic disaster without him on that offensive line. I think that is, without a doubt, could be the biggest injury for the Saints if he goes out every year. It is 100% him. He is one of the most important players on that team on both sides of the ball. They need him desperately. They need him for Spencer Rattler, and even if Tyler Shuck gets to run in there and get some plays this year and get some starts, without him, it's going to be tough. It is so tough without Eric McCoy running that offensive line.
And I should have asked this more. Obviously, the starting center is more important than the second-team running back in terms of an injury, but you know what McCoy is. You really don't know what Kendre Miller is, and now you can't evaluate him. And that was kind of where I was getting at on there. Like, how big a deal is this for his future with the Saints?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Kendre,
yeah,
I think, he was having a solid season. We can all agree that. The unfortunate part is that it was on a 7-yard carry. It was a nice carry, and he hurt his knee. I mean, look, they desperately needed him to stay healthy for this entire season, to evaluate him in case this is it for Alvin Kamara. And I thought that game against the Bills, he was really had a good game. I think for the most part of this season, it's been, a good season for Kendre. And then you see him just go down after that. I had no clue. I thought maybe it was not as severe as it was, but it wasn't. It came out to be that it wasn't a good injury for him. I mean, he's averaging close to 4 yards a carry, a little bit more than 4 yards a carry, and I just think he would have had a very good, solid season as the number 2 back. And now, in year 3, he's hurt once again. So, do they have to address that again this offseason with their draft or agency? They may need to look in a direction where they need to get another running back. Regardless, I think they have to look because of Alvin Kamara.
Saints and Bucks on Sunday. Bucks took one on the chin this weekend, but have been very good this year. What do you make of this matchup?
I don't think much of it. I think it's a loss. I know they don't have Mike Evans. They may be without Chris Godwin and Bucky Irving again. Both of those guys are still trying to come back from injuries, and I think Emeka Egbuka got hurt, was hurt yesterday, but played through the injury against the Lions. I think he had a hamstring injury, so they're beat up. But as long as you have a quarterback and a good defense, I mean, they're good. I mean, Baker Mayfield is, I like to say, he's very arrogant, very cocky, talks a lot of trash, but backs it up, and it turns into confidence and wins. So they're probably favored by 4.5, 5 points. Makes sense. I mean, I like the Bucks. They've won the division 4 straight years. They're probably going to win it again this year. So I think the Saints are going to play with more edge. It's their first NFC South game. It's going to be competitive like most of these games have been this year. But I just like the Buccaneers. I just want to see steps in the right direction and more of these young players continue to make plays.
We'll see. Saints and Bucks coming up on Sunday from the Dome. Pels crank up tomorrow. Expectations where?
My expectations for the last few years have been very low. Okay, so hear me out. The last few years, I said, there's no way this team is going to be healthy. Zion isn't going to be healthy. He's not going to get into shape. And this year, when we did our predictions, I said, I'm going to go to the flip side of it. I'm going to be positive. I think they're finally going to be healthy. Zion looks good, happy, healthy, ready to be a leader. Trey Murphy's ready to take that next step. And I really like the additions of Jordan Poole and Kevon Looney. Yes, Looney's out for probably 2 to 3 weeks with that sprained left knee. I have him at 46 and 36. I know that sounds crazy to over 31, 32 wins if they stay healthy. And I'm saying if they stay healthy, not completely perfect health. I'm saying good health. I think they can get between 43 and 46 wins. I like that. I mean, I like the team. I like when you bring in a guy like Jordan Poole and the leaps that Trey Murphy is going to make. I'm going to be confident that he is going to make those leaps this year. I like it. I like the team. I mean, hopefully they prove me right like they've proven me right the last few years, So I'm hoping for the positive prove me right this year. I just like it. I like the team. I like the way they're carrying themselves this year. And Zion being happy and healthy is a very good thing. That's something maybe a lot of people don't talk enough about, but the other pieces around him can make things even better. Don't sleep on Eve Meesey. He's a guy you should not sleep on. I think his game has improved since last year.
We shall see. Pels in action tomorrow against the Grizzlies. Sharief, thanks for the time.
All right, Hunt. I'll be a less call next week when you call me, even though after our loss.
We'll see. We'll see if it's another 0-2 weekend in football for South Louisiana. That would be disappointing to say the very least, but we'll see. Both teams underdogs on their home field this weekend. All right, we'll take a timeout, come back, and finish things up on this Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Look, go check out that website. You can see all the inventory right there online. You can also see their certified pre-owned vehicles as well. And rentals are available. If you're got a family vacation coming up for Thanksgiving, family vacation coming up for Christmas, or maybe you're heading the road for a football game, and you don't want to put those miles on your car, but also at the same time would like to get behind the wheel of a Genesis to see just what that feels like, highly recommend getting by and checking out their rental inventory. They're happy to help you with that. You can find it at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. You can stop by Airline at PQ, just pop your head and say, hey, Hunt said I could rent a car. They'll get you behind the wheel of one of those luxury brand at a reasonable price. That's the model at Genesis. And every single model on the line, IHA top safety pick. All of them. So you're behind the wheel of one of the safest cars on the road. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Check them out online, GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
You never know what you're going to find on the old internet during the break. I was just scrolling through Instagram and saw a guy who has a channel where he tries things in life for the first time and just says how he feels about it. And tried potato salad.
Ooh, I hate potato salad.
And he did not like it.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I can see where this is going.
No potato salad in your gumbo?
Oh, no. And I see people do that. I just, you know what else I hate in my gumbo? Okra. Hate okra in my gumbo. Can't stand it. I hate that slimy okra.
I like okra. Potato salad, I'm completely indifferent on. Like, it's not something I like. Go to a barbecue restaurant, gotta have the potato salad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care. Like, I'll eat it, and it's fine. I don't feel like it adds to my gumbo. I've put it in there a couple times, and I kind of like gumbo just without the potato salad. So, like, there are a lot of things that I just will not eat. I don't like at all. Potato salad does not fall in that category, but I don't need it to add to my gumbo. It's just not necessary.
I'm not a fan of cold foods like that. You know, I need a little heat with my food. I need to just, make it alive.
Well, some stuff is good cold.
Cereal.
Cereal?
Cereal.
Like fruits are good cold.
Okay, fruits. I'm not a cold pizza guy. I got to throw that, I got to throw that pizza.
Okay, here's the question. How do you reheat your pizza?
Oh, you got me.
You're going to the microwave?
Yes, you got me. You got me. Look, I just need it quick, man.
It's going to be quick, and it's going to be mushy and sloppy.
It is.
I mean, it still tastes okay because it's pizza, and pizza's awesome, but it's clearly the inferior way to heat it.
Oh, it is. No, look, I'm not a role model, kids. Do not be like me. And
I'll go air fryer sometimes, but I've found the best method is just go skillet on the top and just put it right on there, heat it up. It crisps it up real nice.
I will say the air fryer, if you got some fries that have been sitting, throw those fries in the air fryer.
Yeah, well.
Oh, my goodness.
Our air fryer is 91% Myers, the 3-year-old. So that's what we use the air fryer the most for.
Oh, I'm like, he's using the air fryer?
No, he does not use anything. But that's where his food
Okay.
generally comes from, whether it's chicken nuggets, chicken fingers, fries,
yes.
and then you got your corn dogs, whatever the case may be. That's where he gets a lot of action out of the old air fryer. If you're not going to eat a corn dog out of the air fryer or a cold pizza or potato salad tonight and want to go to Court to Table, I highly recommend it. From 5 to 8 tonight, they'll have live music and percentage of their proceeds at Court to Table from dinner tonight. Going to go to Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. And then at 8 o'clock, we start up sports trivia. So if you're looking for something to do tonight, we started things at Court to Table last week. It was a huge success. Just had a great crowd. You can play cornhole. You can play pickleball. They got games on TV. Going to have the NBA on tonight. We got great seating areas. Got great gift cards to win. The microphone works great. Had a lot of teams. So if you want to come out and play some sports trivia, inject a little life into your Tuesday evening, we'll be there 8 o'clock tonight, and I'll have you out of there by 9:15 or so. Not something that's very long. It's just fast moving, hard hitting, and then move on. It's always a lot of fun. So looking forward to getting out there tonight to Court to Table on Burbank. Hope to see you there. All right, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling heading out to campus this week to tailgate. Flight by Yingling, always a great tailgate option, just built for our South Louisiana weekends. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs. Comes in either the slim cans or delicious bottles. It is light. It is refreshing. It is crisp. It is Flight by Yingling. It is the next generation of light beer.
Okay, so we're going to start this one off with a report from On3. According to Pete Nakos, Ole Miss Lane Kiffin is a top priority for the University of Florida to take over for the vacant head coach job. Will Florida actually poach away Lane Kiffin, take it or leave it?
I'm going to leave it. I don't think he's going to leave for Florida. It would not stun me, and it sounds like for sure he's the target. Everybody that's out there that's got their ear to the ground says that Kiffin's the target. I think if you're an Ole Miss fan, you're going to be nervous until the ink dries on a new contract or Florida hires a new coach. And I'll be honest, I'll talk about this later in the week. If they beat Oklahoma this week, they're going to make the playoff, and I think Lane Kiffin's going to stay.
Yeah.
If they lose to Oklahoma this week,
it's sticky.
You might have a situation where he gets a wandering eye and goes, I've put a lot of work into this, and we keep bumping our head on the ceiling, and maybe I can't do it at Ole Miss, and I know it can be done at Florida because it has been done at Florida by multiple guys in the last 30 years. Let me look. And so I think this is a big week for Ole Miss. I think it's a big week for Lane Kiffin. They win this game against Oklahoma. I think they're in pretty good shape to keep him. I think if they don't, could be dicey.
Could get sticky. Okay, so we got a good one right here. Will the Pelicans start off 1-0? Take it or leave it?
Don't you have a Pelicans podcast?
Oh, I do.
Aren't I supposed to ask you that question?
I mean, I think we'll start off 1-0.
1-0.
Oh, for sure.
You're feeling
for sure. Oh, for sure.
Over Memphis.
Oh, well, the reason why is because Zach Edey's not going to play. Who else I just talked about is not going to play? Ja's back. Zach Edey's not playing. A couple other guys.
Memphis not great post Ja. They've been a little dicey, but it's on the road, isn't it?
It's on the road.
Yeah.
We're in the M. We're in the 901. But
in the FedEx Forum. Is it still the FedEx Forum? Probably.
It's probably something like that. But at the same time, I think
the Saints the Pelicans will not start 1-0. I will leave it.
Just leave it alone.
Good. We're going to need some indifference. Last but not least, will Harlem Berry be the RB1 by the end of the season? Take it or leave it?
I will leave it, but I think his role continues to grow. He's showing something. There's no doubt. And
he's got wiggle.
Durham had that ankle injury. I'm a little bummed out that Caden Durham keeps getting caught from behind. He got caught in that game. He got caught last year by South Alabama and Oklahoma as well. Yeah. And he got caught against Alabama on the first play. He busted it. Like I thought of him as like a track speed guy.
He was.
And he's gotten run down from behind like 5 times in 2 years, a year and a half. So he's still a good player. I want him on the team. I think he does well. Harlem Berry, I think, is a very good player as well. He's growing into that role, and you're seeing the elusiveness that he's got that's really good.
So, juice.
I think you're going to see more of him as the season goes on. But as the starting running back, maybe not. Frank likes some veterans. Now, last year, Frank was a running back coach, and he went to Caden Durham as the true freshman. So it's not to say but it can't happen. Jeremy Hill was a redshirt freshman that became the starting running back for him. Kenny Hilliard in 2011 became the starting running back as a true freshman. Spencer Ware was still there. Michael Ford, Alpha Blue, those guys, but he got to Kenny Hilliard by the end of the year, so it could happen. That's it for Take It or Leave It here on this Tuesday. Lots to get to today. I opened the show with a lot of statistics on LSU's offense that are not super fun, but you can go check that out at Hunt on LSU. Also talked about Brian Kelly and his future in Baton Rouge. You can catch that at Hunt on LSU. Talked about Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler. Also talked Saints with Sharief. Hunt on Saints for those segments. You missed the whole show? Hunt Palmer Show on demand wherever you find your sound. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place for a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.